Water is good.
Is this tap water or is this bottled water? Nice.
I don't even care.
It still has bubbly. His has bubbles. Mine's flat.
This one's Perrier. They know.
Oh, Perrier.
You're good. You want to do the hands?
And he's done it. And like he says to us, in briefing, these are missions that I've probably been through or I've seen or learned about and stuff. And he just wants to bring it back to the people. I mean, like I asked, who was military here? And you guys weren't military, right? I'm a civvy. If I get to go do this stuff, play military, I'm just ear to ear smiles. I'm like, yeah, let's go do this stuff. And I mean, and some of the stuff that we get to see and do, who would ever thought we would have done this?
And you said something interesting too that actually kind of almost shied me away from it, is play military, because to me at that time, and even sometimes now, I feel that it could be viewed as a disrespectful thing to people that actually served in the military.
Yeah, but
however, I took the leap to see if this is something I was going to like, and because of that, I've met so many veterans that are doing this Milsim and airsofting, and they see it as a way to honor the military forces out there, and some of them see it as therapy. There's a lot of our veterans, especially in recent years, that have traumatic experiences in the military. And you would think that getting back into playing with guns and weapons and things like that would not be a good thing for them. But I've talked to a few of them, and they say it's actually a good thing for them, because what it does is it takes the war, it takes the nightmares that they have on a nightly basis, and it starts to move it into more of a play world. Of a game, of toys. And it just helps them get through the challenges that they're facing. And I know the Major is part of that too. I know that is something that he's focused on, and he's moving his Milsim series towards helping those types of veterans. And like I said, I know a few of them personally, and it's not playing military. It is a game, and for them, that's what it is. It's a game. So anytime someone says, "Well, you're just going out and playing army with guys, with friends, and with kids, and shooting guns at each other, and it's a joke," well, to some people, it's not. It's more than a hobby for them. It's more than a sport for them. It's something that's helping them cope with something that was traumatic in their life. So, and again,
And you say that, and one of the things for me was when I got started was I wasn't allowed to join the military. I attempted to enlist in the Army twice, but because my kidney disease, they wouldn't have it. And that really depressed me, because my family, was a legacy, much akin to yours. And my father served in the Vietnam War, and I wanted to be that next generation to do my duty to my country. And it was so deflating when the Army said no, that I almost, when I found out about it, I was just like, I almost used it as a replacement until I really understood, and I really got to meet, a lot of the veterans that came back, and even, me being, as young as I am, I have a lot of friends who are coming back now too, from Marine Corps, and a couple of friends from Fallujah, and the horrors that they've seen, and I've attempted to put this, say, hey, why don't you just come out and, on a regular weekend, just shoot each other, just play around.
Just shoot each other. That's all we do.
We'll fool around out in the woods, with toy guns, and not everybody's ready for it either. It's stepping stones, baby steps. When you're dealing with something like that, and I feel grateful that I can, be. Helpful to that community, because my father's always been my greatest American hero, And I've always made it a point. He's always taught me, to anytime, I get to meet a veteran, to always thank him, always be grateful for those sacrifices that they made, and the things that they have to live with when they come home. And I think they're very grateful for that too. And everything that we get to do with them here, I don't think we'll ever truly understand, how grateful they are, to be a part of what we get to do here, with Major, and even just in our local communities and regional communities, and it's a true pleasure.
Yeah.
And
one of the things too that I see is sometimes when I first started playing, I would have people say, again, trying to degrade the whole experience and saying you're playing soldier and you weren't one, and things like that. And I kind of think back, well, here's a retired Army major, okay, that has basically made it, or is moving towards making it a business for himself, a livelihood, as well as expanding just the overall experience of a Milsim sport. Is it silly for him? He's a retired major. And then I had the honor also to meet Colonel McKnight at one of the John Lew games that I played at. Is that a joke? I don't think so. I don't think you would call any of these guys silly for playing Milsim Airsoft. So when it used to bother me when people would say that when they found out that I was doing this. It doesn't bother me anymore because of they put some value to it. And then when I started to get to know people that this helped, then I even put more value to it. So,
Well, I will say for me, Airsoft for me is it's an outlet for a side of my personality that needs an outlet, and I'll kind of get to what that means. I've always loved the military. I've always loved airplanes. My granddads were both in World War II. One stormed Iwo Jima, first wave. Second one, 27 missions, B-17 bombers over Germany. So, I grew up with that legacy. However, I am a civilian. I didn't join. I went to college and went into business instead. Yet I've always felt that I wished I could run two paths. I wish that I could have, because honestly, not because of the airsoft skills that I've gained, but I think I'd be good at it. And you want to do things that you think you'd be good at.
exactly, yeah.
And so I've got this side of me that, I can name every jet that flies in the sky. I can name every tank, because that's what it's
your passion.
It's my passion.
Yeah.
It's what I loved as a child.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. And so everyone was actually very surprised when I didn't join the military. But I kind of just fell into a path that took a couple choices that took me away from that. But I've always loved it. And this is a way for me to engage with that side of my nature and my personality that would have really liked to do this. And I feel, people, they don't so much anymore, but used to say, why don't you just join the military? You like to shoot plastic guns? Why don't you just join the military? I was like, well, because, I want to shoot, I want to play with my friends. I don't want to, I don't want to necessarily, kill people. Not that, that's, bad that our military does that or anything like that. But what Black Sheep has done for me has let me, because I was actually even ashamed, like similar, that I hadn't, there's a side of my nature that I had suppressed in order to go into to do other things that I wanted to do, because I had choices on the table and they were in conflict. So I chose these, but there's that side that I've been suppressing. Black Sheep Milsim gives me the avenue to explore that side, to build that side, to build leadership. I am not a born leader. I defer to everybody.
You are now. Being XO, you are now.
Well, exactly.
we all?
I mean, I was an XO of a Black Sheep Milsim Pathfinder game.
It's a privilege.
And you know, before that, I mean, I was the biggest I was a squad leader. Like, yeah, I can lead my own guys in battle. You know, woohoo.
What Black Sheep games did for me is every event in the game, I would have what I called command paralysis, and I'm sure there's other terms for it, but I'm very good at making decisions in circumstances where I get some data, and I'm like, okay, you know, we're in this building, we're in this position, we got people moving here, we need to move here to get the angle on them. I'm very good at making snap decisions in that situation. When I don't have that information, when it's like, okay, we can do anything, what should we do? Or we're getting surrounded and an avenue does not present itself, an escape, a plan does not present itself, I would wait for more information, command paralysis. And my guys are looking at me like, Christian, we gotta do something, we gotta do something, we gotta do something, we gotta move, we can't stay here. Well, what do we do? You know, it would happen.
I've had that moment too, and you know, just like you're saying, it's just like everybody's looking at me. What are we gonna do? I don't know. What do you think? Like, no, that exactly. You can't do that.
You can't.
When you're in that position, you can't do that. You know, and it's horrible when it's just like, you know, it hits you in the head, and you're like, all right, I gotta get in my game. You know.
Well, this weekend was a great example of that. I mean, you know, previous airsoft events, whether it's a local event, regional, or a national event, you always have the intel to sit there and look at it, even if it's just a single map. But in this case, for me, at Guernsey, we had a map of the mount facility that we were supposed to play on.
Supposed to
Okay,
Supposed to plan, yeah.
Okay. The weather prevented us from doing that.
So we got a map that was drawn out of someone's memory.
Yeah, by 8:30 that night, I'm standing there looking at a dry erase board with a hand-drawn map on it, and I have roughly 30 people standing behind me going, what are we going to do? And then I go to Christian as a co-XO, and we look at each other and we say, what are we going to do? You know, and I think, you know, John talks about the wall, and it's real, and it's real physically and mentally. I really never had a problem with that previous Black Sheep events. I seem to always find it to push through the wall. It was never really a big deal for me. But I think that at 8:30 on Saturday night, that was a wall for me.
It was a huge wall.
Yeah, it was probably the first time in a very long time that I stood there and I went, holy crap.